It was.
That's really funny because did that come up? Because I had a dream where, what's the other thing that wasn't a Tamagotchi?
Nanopet?
Yeah.
Or
And-
Neopet?
Yeah,
Neopet,
and I
yeah.
wasn't allowed
Neopet.
to have one. And like other people got them, and I wasn't allowed to have one. I was like,
Weren't you like 25? When
I don't even know what it is. I never touched one of these things in my life, and it's like I wasn't allowed to have one, but everyone else had them.
It was like 15
How
years.
old is a Tamagotchi?
They're like 15
They're
years.
pretty
ago.
fucking old.
Are they?
Maybe
No,
even
wait, more.
more than that. They're like
I
20
think
years
I was
ago,
like
I think.
5 or 6 when they came out.
Yeah, I think it was like 20 years ago that those things were popular.
So you weren't allowed one
When you were 20.
when you were 20?
No, I'm saying I had a dream recently.
Oh.
Like everyone in the office
a
got
dream.
one, and I wasn't allowed to have
missed
I
one.
thought it
dream
was
part of
real
that.
life.
I would get one later.
20
No.
couldn't have
Yeah, because I was an adult. That's why they wouldn't let me have it.
You are not in the recommended age group for this
I
toy.
had a Nanopet and I
Somebody said something today that boggled my mind.
What?
Gavin, you'll love this.
Okay.
Is that when you take a rock and you break it in half, you don't have two halves of a rock, you have two rocks.
Uh-huh.
That boggles my mind. I don't know why. That
Yeah,
just
like
caught
what's
me.
the smallest unit of rock?
Like rock is not a unit.
It's because I guess when you would do that with anything else, like a cookie. For
So were
your
you
kid.
were you just listening to this and then thinking, oh yeah,
I was like, yeah, if you break a rock in half, you don't get a half rock, you get two rocks.
Half a rock. Yeah.
I feel like if it was a shape, like if it was a circle, or like
And you
an
cut it right
oval,
down the
and then
middle.
it cracked in two, then you got two halves of a.
So
rock.
what if millions of years ago,
Well, if.
through natural reasons, a lightning bolt came and struck that rock and split it in half, and humans weren't even alive? Then humans come along like, oh look, these two rocks look exactly the same. It's like what denotes creating two halves versus creating two rocks?
But no, if just like a river had like eroded a
What
cliff and then
is-
the river dried up, you would say that cliff is cut in half. You would say that. But that's
Yeah.
not half a cliff on that
Can
side.
you say that Everest is one rock?
I would say the Earth is one rock.
There's a picture of
Oh,
two
there it
rocks.
is.
How do you find that?
That is so perfect.
So you'd look at that, I would describe that as a rock cut in half. But I wouldn't
because it's
describe
still-
the left side as a half a rock.
Well, if you push them further apart, you would think it's two rocks.
Yes.
But the fact that you could actually see where it's split,
How close together do two rocks have to be before they're considered two rocks?
What part of one rock?
Yeah.
Because they're all resting together.
What if
How
they're
did
really
we get
close,
here?
but the two have, like the part where it was cut isn't butted up against each other? Like what if this one's like flipped over?
But I would say, I wouldn't say, if I looked at that, I would say that rock is cut in half. But then I wouldn't describe the left side as half of a rock.
Did you ever, as a kid, pick up a rock and think,
Never.
I wonder how
I
far
wasn't
this...
allowed. I had Neopets and rocks were off limits for me. Sorry, go ahead.
Did you ever pick up a rock and think, I wonder how far this rock is away from where it started?
I thought about that with bugs.
You did?
Yeah, when a bug got in
Sometimes-
the car and then you roll the window down and the bug goes like near the window and then goes zoop out the window. I thought he has no fucking idea where he is. He's never getting back home ever.
Or a bug on a plane.
A bug
And
on a plane would
And
be
it flies out, it's like, Christ.
What happened?
I'm in Africa now.
I went in the tube. I came out of the tube. Did I come out the wrong side of the tube? It's like
then
everything is
And
different.
then it tries to get back by just sitting in different metal tubes. And it's like, this one doesn't work at all.
Keeps hopping a plane over to the next country.
I once took a stone from one continent and left it in another one.
People do that with jars of sand.
I wonder if anyone ever found my stone and thought, I'll do the same, and they took it back.
You should put a little marking on it.
That would be a crazy set of circumstances.
I bet that has happened once, where two natural objects have been split up around the world and then brought back really close together.
What if you, like with Pangea, when all the continents were together, if you got the cleft and it's like you brought back a rock after millions of years,
Oh, yeah.
and that
Well,
rock
all
is
you have
like
to
the
do
one that
is-
was next to it before was like, how the fuck did you get back after 12 million years? How did that happen? I also learned
Hey.
recently that what we call Pangea, like with all the continents all mushed together, mush, in our current configuration, the way the world is,
Yeah.
when the continents were like here, and then they went, nope, and they went away, that our version of Pangea, there's been like dozens of them. Like the continents just go like this, and then back, and then this,
Yeah,
and then back.
they all get together, then they separate, go around the world, and basically come back together.
Yeah.
And like the process just happens over and over.
Yeah.
So, like, Africa would say to South America, see you in, like, millions of years again.
Yeah, and it's like how different is the time base for the planet? Is that these things are basically like pool balls on a pool table where
Yeah.
you just throw them and they're all ricocheting off each other, but we're moving so slowly we can't even see the ricochets. It's just like it's
Yeah.
like they're actually moving to the point where they're going to bounce off each other again. That's
Could
what
you-
happens, right? They hit and bounce. There's no currents with the mantle.
They can also like merge, right? Like that's what India's doing. India's hitting Asia. Like India's a subcontinent. I think it's like one of them's like going under the other.
Really?
I believe so.
If I had a
That'd be fucking
rope,
crazy.
if I had a rope and I was in England,
Yep.
and we had a rope in New York or something,
There are ropes in New York.
and it was a really long rope.
Oh,
and
same
we,
rope.
And we pulled. Both pulled on the rope. Would we drag continents close together?
Never.
I don't think so.
Could we do that with machines?
How many people are pulling?
At least 3.
Has anything gone on with a tectonic plate ever? I mean, we have earthquakes, it's tectonic
Right.
plates, but has one like ever flipped over or anything like that? What? That would be like is there gonna be like a major calamity?
What, so one day someone drills down and they see a load of houses upside down on the underneath of it?
Trees.
Or like, they hit like this, like you're saying goes under,
Right.
Like they tap or whatever.
Subduction.
Yeah, what
Like
if
that's what caused the tsunami in Japan. Was one plate subducting under another one.
Because they build up pressure and then they jolt.
they jolt,
Yeah.
which to that is like nothing. It's just like,
Ugh.
yeah. Like a,
How long until everything is just one layer over the other?
So,
It's just like one giant,
We're all
like
stacked.
double stuffed Oreo.
Yeah.
so what
That'd
we
be
thought
awesome.
Or
about
under
Pangea
Europe.
was really like what the Matrix was, is that he wasn't the one, he was like the 7th one.
right, exactly right. Like I always considered Pangea to be, well, that's how everything started.
So it's like Pangea 6.
Yeah. Well, the world would be weird if like all the land was in one area
Yeah.
and then like the rest of the planet was water.
But that was what Pangea was, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying it'd be so weird to be like the planet. You
Yeah,
call
there
it
it
so
is.
they went all around and then came back to that. Is that what you're saying?
They're separating from this, and they're eventually going to come back around and then
So is it-
reconnect.
So we're
So
showing a
weird.
view of the planet when Pangea was in existence, or when
So you got
that was the
Africa
configuration.
and North America are touching.
Mm-hmm.
Australia and Antarctica are down there, then basically
But
the
they're
same
not
place.
touching
The weird thing about it is like
up.
they always show this view of it. From the other side, it's just a water planet because there's no land. It's like I was saying, it's like all the water basically is continuous at that point.
How many ocean planets are there without land?
And don't listen, someone's gonna point out to me the water is still continuous. Yes, it is. But I'm saying it's like you'd have uninterrupted water like for three-quarters of the
Or
globe.
what if there were small islands that got subducted? Like, is that what you were asking about earlier? Like, what if there were smaller pieces of land that these other larger land
Hawaii.
bodies?
No, I'm trying
forced
to.
under
I'm going the
them.
other way. Like if an alien ship rode by, they go, "That fucking planet's all water." Just because like on the other side of the planet, it's all this land. They're
Yeah,
like,
that's what their first thought would be.
It's like all life hiding on the other side of
It's
the
all
planet.
water. We can't stop there.
That's
There's no
what I
place to
would think.
land.
oh, it's like there's no land. You'd have to stick around for 24 hours to watch the thing rotate.
Have you guys watched any of that new show Cosmos?
Yeah.
Did you see that episode where they talk about the galaxies?
No, I lied. I haven't seen the show.
Why would you lie about that?
Why would
I
you
felt
lie?
obligated because I interviewed the guy on the show, and that's why I should have
Anybody?
watched it.
I have
Am I
not.
the only one?
I
I don't watch TV.
I haven't watched it. I like remaining somewhat ignorant so we
Well,
can have these
okay.
wonderful discussions.
Watch the first episode.
Why?
Anybody? It's just like it blows your mind.
Yeah,
of just the scale of the universe.
I
Oh, they
I
did the
know
whole
how big it
cosmic
is.
calendar thing.
No, but this like you know the scale of the universe. You don't really know it until you watch.
I
this.
watched and I loved the old Carl Sagan Cosmos. And I'm sure I'll get around to watching this one as well.
Incredible.
I showed that to somebody. I know I showed you that image that I love because I love the scale stuff. I
Oh,
did a
yeah.
journal about it, and it showed the Earth. And I think everyone's seen that we have Earth, and then it shows all the other planets around, like the first 4 planets, like Mercury and Venus and Mars. And then it shows our relation to Jupiter, and then it shows how much bigger the Sun is than Jupiter. And then it goes through a bunch of different stars
Yeah,
that make
and how our
sun
sun is just a tiny dot.
like a pixel, like nothing.
Yeah, I'm aware of how big the universe is, and that's why I don't ever care too much about something because who
watch it.
cares
I know.
about things?
It's
relative.
So tiny
Size is
and
relative.
pointless.
When I watch or learn about stuff like that, and I hear people who don't believe in aliens or the fact that there could be aliens somewhere in the universe, to me, those people are idiots. Because here's the thing: people who believe in ghosts more than believe in aliens, it's like it's fucking huge. Like there has to
We
be
know
living
that there are
beings somewhere.
people, and we know that people die. Therefore,
Yes.
ghosts.
You say ghosts in there?
So I've met people who believe in ghosts more than they believe in aliens.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you thought people who believe in ghosts are idiots.
What if there's alien ghosts?
Well, there's two different things.
What if ghosts are aliens?
So when you
Could
say
be.
when I say do you believe in aliens, what does that mean?
That means life that is not what we know.
life that is
So
not what we
life
know.
outside of Earth.
Life outside of Earth. So are people like if we live you live in Canada and people who live in India, are they foreigners to you at that point? I mean, like at what point? Because what I'm saying is like if I say do you believe in aliens, a lot of people say if aliens visiting Earth. It's like the difference between like an asteroid and a meteor. It's like it's an asteroid when it's out in space, but it's a meteor when it lands on the planet.
Oh,
So
they're the same thing.
yeah. That's the distinction. An asteroid is the rock in space, and a meteor is an asteroid.
No, I think asteroids are bigger. Meteors are in space, and then meteorites are when they enter our atmosphere.
Oh, is that what it is?
I believe
An
that's
asteroid is
what it
something you
is.
can. I mean, you could land on some of them. They're that big.
No, I just thought that the difference was that a meteor is an asteroid that has entered our atmosphere and
No,
landed.
which
on
one's
Earth.
a meteorite? Because there's a difference between meteor and meteorite.
I think
Smaller?
a meteorite is the remnant that's left on Earth that we then mine and get bacteria from and make sci-fi movies from.
So what is a moon called when it hits Earth?
What's that?
Moonite?
A meteor. Hold on. What is a meteor? I spelled meteor wrong. I spelled it. I got into spelling meteorite, so I spelled. For some reason, I ended meteor in an I.
Is the moon made of Earth, or is it not?
There's speculation that it is.
Yeah.
Because
That a giant.
like something
Meteor.
That
smashed
it's
it.
a piece of
Yeah.
Earth that got and then just stayed there because it was too close to the orbit.
Pangea was originally even bigger, and then it was like moon.
Yeah.
Well,
Took a
that's what
little
happened. They
shit.
hit each other so hard that they fucking flew off and became the moon.
What happened was Earth ate an oyster shot and it took a little, and that's the moon right there.
Oh,
good.
no, you guys are right. They say meteoroid.
Oh.
That's the term they use. This is Wikipedia.
I love
So-
words ending in oid.
A meteoroid, not an asteroid, a meteoroid is a small rocky or metallic body traveling through space. Meteoroids are significantly smaller than asteroids and range in size from small grains, who the fuck's counting those, to 1 meter wide objects.
Grains?
1 meter? That's nothing.
Well, it was not nothing if it lands on your head. I'm sure it'd be definitely something when it's caved the top of your car in.
Or when you're in the space shuttle and a fucking 1 meter sized meteoroid crashes through it, you're like, that thing, that's nothing.
Wow, I had that. I learned more on this podcast than anybody, I think. I always thought a meteor was an asteroid that's landed on Earth. I thought that's what a meteor was.
Why don't you go back to doing math?
So,
800. Hold on 1 second. Meteor.
so has an asteroid ever landed on Earth?
I don't think that's. I mean, an asteroid may have hit Earth at some point, but I think if that happened, everything would die.
That'd be interesting. Back to like the taking a stone
What
and
hit
putting
the
it somewhere
Yucatan?
else. What?
They killed all the dinosaurs.
I think that was a meteor. I don't think that was large enough to be classified an asteroid.
That's 1 meter? You tell me a 1 meter thing wiped out all the dinosaurs?
You're right. Must have been an asteroid then. I don't know what's the smallest asteroid possible. God damn it! I've got to fucking look.
Over a meter.
Maybe it was a country.
What is between? Oh, this a lot of horrible things came up. A meteor and an asteroid. Fucking. I love that I learned to undo is shaking.
How
on
much do you think we could pay the network? What was the name of that space show?
Cosmos?
Cosmos.
All right. How much can we pay the network to replace an episode of that with this podcast?
Well, I asked Neil deGrasse Tyson one of your questions about
damn.
fishing from the ISS and an asteroid.
I like how you're like, this question comes from Gavin Free.
I like that 100% of this podcast can
So,
be replaced by people looking dumb shit up on
the
Google.
smallest asteroid that I guess we've discovered is 20 feet, 6 meters across. So it definitely was an asteroid then that hit.
But why call
the-
meteors then?
I just had a thought.
Like, I never heard the asteroid that destroyed the dinosaurs. It's always the meteor.
Right.
I just had a thought, right?
Go ahead.
Going back to someone in England with a rope and someone in New York having a rope on the other end. If the
totally
rope
agree with
was really tight and I yanked on the rope, would the person in New York fall in?
Yeah.
How long would it take for it to go?
That's the speed of push, right?
That's
Well,
your.
that's the speed of pull.
That's speed
It's
of
the
pull.
same. They're the same thing, right?
God damn.
But I wonder how quick
Is
that'd
it?
be.
Is pull and push, are those two different things, or is that like hot and cold?
I think it's just a matter of perspective.
maybe pull is the absence of any kind of push. That's what. That's
do you think that would happen though?
you
If,
overcome push?
We should test this
if
on
someone-
like either side of the studio.
if someone did it, would the person in New York fall in? Do you think?
Well, first of all, it'd be tough to have a rope that would stay taut
Why?
over that distance because it's a
have to
lot
be-
of weight.
You'd have to be pulling
The weight,
really
the
hard.
weight of the rope is pulling down.
It floats.
So you're thinking floating rope? Yeah, that's fine.
But you're both pulling it, so
Right,
it's
so
taut.
you would pull, and all the stuff that was floating would go, wouldn't it?
Here, let me throw another question at you. What if the rope went all the way around the world and tied your belt? What happens when you pull?
Is there a critical length?
Would
of
you go
rope?
faster? What is that?
It's like those troll physics drawings of like the magnet in front of the car pulling it.
Exactly. You just give yourself a yank, and you'd go. Would you yank twice? Would you go backwards twice as fast? Because you're pulling yourself, and then you're holding on to
But
the
it
rope.
might be one of those things where like a straw can't be more than 10 feet long because then straws don't work. Maybe there's
Still have to have the office suck off.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe ropes can only be so long.
Yeah, because there's just the weight of the rope itself. Like like when you pull a rope and I pull a rope, like say you just have a piece of rope, you pull it. There's a little bit of give in the rope before it, like within the rope. There's some give before it goes taut. Like you don't really have that in a cable, but you do in a rope. Like it's a bunch of strings all wound up together. But over the course, how far would you have to pull a 6,000-mile rope before it like stretched out the rope enough to where the rope is taut enough to then apply force to either side of it?
I
I guess you would
How
never.
much force would you have to apply?
You would never be able to hold it up. I guess if it was through a load of rings to hold it up.
Floating is actually not bad. I mean, that's if you're floating, then you'd have to pull it. But then would it have to like rise up out of the water?
Also,
to get tight?
would you have to deal with the weight of the water weighing down the rope?
Yeah.
Also, if
listen, we're gonna have to solve all these problems before we try this.
You know, there's a physics major watching right now. Who's
if you
just,
commit
like,
a crime-
frustrated beyond
I
belief.
can't wait till they tweet me how stupid I am. The object that hit the Yucatan, they're calling it a bolide. So great, we got another fucking term here. The bolide that formed the crater was at least 6 miles in diameter.
holy crap,
So yeah, that's pretty fucking massive.
6 miles.
But that's the crater. That's not even
that's the object that created the crater.
Okay, so we showed the scale. This is one of my favorite things we ever showed on the podcast. Was we showed the scale of the Earth versus the size of the asteroid that wiped out all life on Earth. It was nothing. It was nothing.
It's like a pixel.
It looks like a grain of sand.
yeah, but all it has to do is release crap into the air, right? That's what killed everything.
Yeah.
Right.
It was the
exactly.
gas,
That's
right?
So,
exactly.
it was a 6 mile wide object that created a crater that's 110 miles in diameter and 12 miles deep.
So it went in twice itself.
Yeah.
Nice.
But you think about the size of the Earth compared to a 6 mile wide object. That's not that big. If you're sitting here watching something 6 miles wide fall on you, that's fucking huge.
So
But even if you just compared it to the state of Texas, it'd be nothing.
Yeah,
It's
it
nothing.
wouldn't even be the size from here to our old office.
No.
So how fast was it coming? What was the did terminal velocity count in space? Can you even have that?
Which we get is still huge, but the fact that something that wouldn't cover part of Austin, something would happen in Austin that would wipe out all life in Siberia, is just crazy to think about. And Australia and everywhere
So could we
else.
build a 6 mile big object and crash it into Earth?
That's a
and
great
take-
question. We
and take out
absolutely
Earth?
could. That's a
But
great
we wouldn't be able
doomsday
to
plot.
accelerate it to as fast as I
That's
imagine.
like the way the bugs attacked in Starship Troopers. Is like, the humans were fighting the bugs. The bugs would just like hurl asteroids and big objects at Earth planets or Earth and other colonies, and that's how they would fight.
Apparently
They didn't have missiles or weapons or
It
anything.
seems like a really easy way to fight on an interplanetary basis.
Right,
We
it's
have tons of asteroids in the asteroid belt. Some other civilization comes along and goes, all right, it's actually
Yeah,
Mass Effect too.
They're really
The
far.
Batarians do that.
They're
Oh,
really
right.
spread apart though. Those asteroids. Like,
It doesn't matter.
On all the diagrams, they're like.
It says the explosion would have released as much energy as 100 trillion tons of TNT, more than 1 billion times more than the
always
atom
had
bombs
that.
that destroyed Hiroshima and
How much bigger than the atom bombs?
A billion?
more than 1 billion times more than the atom bombs.
More than 1 billion times the atom bomb for something that's 6 miles wide.
Crazy.
Which makes me think, if we get the ISS up to where it's like a mile long, which is huge, then that's like we could be putting something in orbit that could then come down to Earth with enough energy to like wipe out a continent.
Yeah, but I don't think you could get it fast enough or dense enough.
Fast enough or dense enough.
Like,
Yeah,
it would just
okay.
burn
It
up.
would probably break apart. ISS would probably break apart
Yeah.
on re-entry.
Yeah,
and, like,
this
burn
thing
up.
was enormous,
And solid.
and it was 6 miles wide when it hit the Earth.
Right.
So how? And,
Who knows how big it was before it
Dude,
burned
at
up?
well,
least
we all
7.
say that like it'll burn up an atmosphere. What's that rate? Like how much mass does something lose coming through the atmosphere?
I think it's pretty significant.
Does a human burn up?
Yeah.
Like if I was just floating in space and then I fell into the Earth's orbit and fell down,
Listen, I've seen a
Just
lot of
you?
astronaut
Yeah.
movies. Yes.
Yes.
but would I be going that fast?
Yeah. You're going really fast.
Yeah.
Fast
Falling?
enough to the point where, like, am I big enough for air resistance to
Yeah,
start setting me
absolutely.
on fire? Really?
Yes. Tiny little specks cause shooting stars. Like when you see a shooting star, that's a tiny little thing. It's much smaller than you. You're bigger than a meter. You're an asteroid.
I think if I tucked into like a pencil, I could go.
If you tucked into a
And you can land on a mountain
You're
and
not
run.
diving into a pool.
if you did like a cannonball, then you'd be a meteoroid. You might be all right.
Meteorite.
Gavinoid.
If you can land and survive, then you're a meteorite.
I'll be all right.
Watch Gavin be the cause of extinction for all humans.
So our astronaut goes into space. Let me see if I can look this up.
Yes,
real
they
quick.
do.
Yes, they do. They go to space.
That might be the definition of astronaut.
Asteroid is sometimes called a minor planet or a planetoid. All these fucking names. Pick one.
Oid.
A meteorite is any
Gavoid.
object that has entered the atmosphere of another object and survived to impact on the surface. So astronauts are meteorites because they enter the atmosphere of the Earth and they land and they survive.
Did it say strike? Did it say?
I think we should refer to all former astronauts as meteorites now because they came from outside the atmosphere. They went into the atmosphere and they survived.
Well, are they, or is the space shuttle the meteorite?
It's all the same.
Introducing the
Everything's
world's
a meteorite.
most famous meteorite, Buzz Aldrin. Here he comes.
If I was an astronaut, I would absolutely describe myself as a meteorite to everybody. I was a human for a long time, and now I'm a meteorite.
I guess so. Does being a meteorite like supersedes like the rest of their life? They're no longer human. They're
Why
you're
not?
now meteorite.
It's like you have different titles. You can just choose the one you want, whichever one.
It's like World of Warcraft. You go to that drop down.
That's exactly right.
You earned a title.
Whatever I am.
I unlocked the meteorite title.
I'm a commander.